Hi everyone and welcome to episode 14 of TeachTechPlay. I'm Eleni Kyritsis and I'm one of the hosts of tonight's episode. Tonight we have a fantastic lineup of presenters and they'll all be sharing a great range of tools. I would like to congratulate episode 13 winner Ben Rouse for talking about Google Classroom beyond the obvious, and I know even myself I got quite a lot out of this, just seeing other ways that teachers are using Classroom to its full potential to engage and motivate students to learn. We also have had a very busy month with TeachTechPlay. Not only did we announce our episode 13 winner, but we also paired up with Blake and had our Chromebook app special edition for Google, where we invited a range of app developers from around the world to share their tools and how they work with Google for education and the potential that they have to transform your teaching and learning. If you did miss this episode or any of our other episodes, you can find all of these on our website, which is teachtechplay.com, or also on our YouTube channel. And if you are worried that you might miss out on an episode, if you do subscribe to our YouTube channel, it will send you email updates. And our winner, I forgot to announce, for our Chromebook app special edition was Verso app, and this is it's a Melbourne-based app, which is very exciting, being TeachTechPlay started in Melbourne, knowing that down here in Melbourne we have quite a lot of amazing things happening. So well done to Verso app. So make sure you do check out that special edition. It's a rarity to get some of those CEOs and co-founders in one place at one time. Now tonight's show, I might throw over to Michael first to say a little hello, and then we'll get our presenters to introduce themselves.
Hi everyone, my name's Michael. I'm an e-learning leader at an independent school in Sydney, and as you can see I'm still working at 8 o'clock at night, so who say teachers have an easy life. But again, I just want to welcome our presenters from the States who have stayed up late and or waken up early just to join us, so it's really exciting. So yes, let's have our presenters introduce ourselves. So maybe we'll start with Michael.
Hey, thanks Michael. My name's Michael Fricano, and I teach in the beautiful state of Hawaii. I'm a technology integration specialist and also a Maker Ed educator at my school's amazing Fab Lab.
Wonderful, thank you, Michael, and I do appreciate you waking up in sunny Hawaii. Well, not really waking up because you haven't yet gone to sleep, but we do appreciate you joining us tonight. You're the first Hawaiian person from Hawaii speaking tonight, which is always exciting. And Michael, yes, you are at school, but you do live on campus, so I think that's a little bit different. So don't try and say you're still working till 8 p.m. Now, Emily, we'll shoot over to you if you want to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Great, thank you. My name's Emily McLean. I'm an education technology coach in Singapore at Chatsworth International School. I work primarily with the primary division. This is my third year in Singapore, and I've just transferred into an education technology role from previously teaching year 5, and originally from Canada.
Wonderful, thank you. We've also got Lee joining us, but he sent us a photo a second ago of him stuck in traffic. So he is hoping to make it, and we've got everything crossed, so hopefully he can join us later in the show and to share some wonderful things. Now, because we have got such a great lineup of presenters, please make sure you do vote. So the voting link is open, and it's bit.ly/TTP e 14 vote. So make sure you do vote for your favourite presenters tonight. This will be announced Friday at around 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. So I think enough talking, and we should get started get started with the show. So first up we've got Emily, and she's going to be sharing with us JS timelines as a learning journey. So
Great,
Emily,
thank you so much.
Let me know when you're ready and I'll start the timer.
Okay, let me get my screen up here. Are you seeing my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. So I'm going to be talking about JS Timeline today, and it is an open source tool that you can find online. Just Google JS Timeline, And it's a great gadget that can create timelines for any blog or a site. And it just pulls media from various places, whether it's Picasa, your Google Drive, YouTube, things like that. I'm just showing an example of a project that I've done here, and then you can just see various things that you can throw in. And I'm going to flip over to the website there. So there's the JS timeline. They're on their version 3 beta, which is going to the full version, I think, at the end of September. It's really well laid out, which is great. Basically, you just follow the steps 1 through 4. So the first one, it says create your own spreadsheet, and it will, if you click on that link.
Eleni, do you want to just change the camera? Just quickly.
Not flip it back.
Yeah, I have.
Can you see it?
Yeah, we can see it. Michael, I think it's your end.
Okay, I'm going to continue then. So when you click on it, you'll get a spreadsheet like this. This is a template. I often delete some of the columns that I don't need, but I do keep the dates and the headline, the text, and the media. What you'll need to do then is for step number 2, once you've filled in the data that you need to go to File and Publish the site to the web. You just click on that and you'll find a link there. That link is going to need to be copied. You'll go back to your steps here, scroll down where it says paste spreadsheet URL, you'll throw it in there, and you'll have a few other options. One thing that I often note is start at the end, because if you're doing something like on a class website and you have put in maybe 50 links throughout the year, you don't really want your parents clicking through every week. You want them at the most recent, and then you'll get the embed code at the bottom, and you'll copy and paste that into your HTML. So I have one that I kind of started specifically for this. So I've got a couple things in there. I'm going to grab a YouTube. Oh, got to flip back to this one. Throw it in there. What I also do is I create a folder in Google Drive and share it anyone with the link to begin with. And then I will put all of my images that I have there. They're all shared properly to begin with, so you just see me doing that there, throwing stuff in. Upload it goes. To get that link, I'm going to just go to the share button there, copy that link, and paste it in there. Oop. There we go. I've already published it, and I grabbed the HTML code a little bit earlier just to save myself some time. And so now I'm going to HTML, paste that in, and if all works, here we go. Fingers crossed. So we've got episode 14. There we go. We've got a nice little picture of me. Got a nice little YouTube video of my name bouncing around. Fantastic. And then there you go. Having a great show tonight. And that is JS Timeline.
Wow, thank you, Emily. That was awesome with 40 seconds to go. You got that out as speedy as anything, which is always great. So thank you for sharing that. I know that a lot of teachers will see wonderful ways in how they can use that and implement it into the classroom. Do any of our presenters or Michael have any questions?
Yes, I was wondering what kind of elements can you embed into the timeline?
That's a great question. Let me just flip back. I think I might have a link with them all in it. Here. On their main website, they do have a bunch of media types that you can have there. So images, videos, Twitter, maps. There's quite a few different things there that you can see. For the most part, we haven't had any trouble using it. We use it on our class sites, but I can definitely see it for kids' e-portfolios as a presentation tool, or even creating stories with your students on that. Because it's a Google spreadsheet, you can definitely have collaboration and multiple people working at once as well, which is nice.
Yeah, I really like that, especially, you know, just thinking even those junior students can each add, for story writing, they can all add a different sort of page, and then it sort of continues and tells a story that the whole class can write, and they can add pictures, etc., which is really awesome. So I do like that a lot. Thank you for sharing.
No worries. One thing is, though, you have to have a date in there, otherwise the gadget won't work.
I guess that's what happens when you have a timeline. It needs a date. That's wonderful. So we might continue to move on, and Michael, you are up next, and you're going to be sharing with us tonight about shadowing a student for a day. So talking about reflective practice. So looking forward to hearing that. So Michael, let me know when you'd like me to start the timer.
Okay, no worries. We might need like a Michael 1 and a Michael 2 for tonight, just so you know. Okay, sharing my...
We'll do Michael TeachTechPlay then.
Okay, done. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, ready when you are.
Okay, so I guess I just want to share a little bit of my experience from a couple of weeks ago now, where I had the opportunity to shadow a student for the entire day. So I follow a particular Year 9 student all the way from the start of the day until he finished school. The idea was it revolved around a classroom observation professional learning group that I was fortunate enough to be part of at my new school. And we really want to look at new ideas and improvement for teachers, and just revolves around the idea of being able to see other teachers teaching and seeing how students react to that, give us new perspective in our own teaching practices. And hopefully that will encourage us to reflect of our own practices and to be able to sort of explore and open dialogues with common dilemmas that we might have as teachers. And also hopefully to have an understanding and build some empathy on what it feels like to be a student. We'll also really sort of made a really big point on the fact that we want to focus on these purpose and not on the particular teaching practice of other teachers. So we're not there to judge other teachers. So we had a few guiding questions for our learning group, and they were looking at what engagement looked like in the classroom and what seemed to spark and create these student engagement. Now, our actual observation learning group was split into 2 weeks, but I'll focus on the more exciting part for me personally, which is shadowing a student for the entire day. And I created hashtag shadow student for a day if you want to follow my journey throughout the day at any other time, which I sort of tweeted throughout the day my experience and what I was doing and thinking at that time. So what did engagement actually look like, and what did we sort of find out? We sort of we saw it as lessons that were high energy, student focus, students be able to answer each other's questions and to be able to come up with meaningful and thoughtful questions as well. So those were really exciting, and some banter and talk between students when they were responding to teachers as well. That was really what we saw as engagement in the classroom. And things that seemed to spark it were classes and lessons that revolves connection to the real world. And funny enough, assessment tasks were a big motivation. So when students were hearing that this was, there was an assessment coming up or was part of assessment, they seemed to be gravitated and a lot more engaged to the task. Humour was a big spark for engagement, and food in the classroom as well. So that was pretty exciting. But I guess what I've learned from the entire day, and the most important thing, was a sense of empathy for students and how busy they actually are. So for a Year 9 boy, we spend the whole day, and then because we got kept back a little bit at the start of recess, by the time I lined up at the canteen, I missed the entire recess, and then we had period 3 and 4, and then we had a detention at the start of lunchtime. So by the time I got food and ate again, we missed lunch. Well, I only had 10 minutes of lunchtime, and then I had period 5 and 6. So basically in that entire day, I was just busy running flat out my feet. And as a student, they're expecting to learn new material and new content every one of these lessons. So my empathy level for a student after that day was an all-time high, and really gave me a new perspective of and what it's like to be a student again. So yeah, love to chat more about it if anyone wants to discuss it further, or wants to have a little debrief about it. But I highly recommend it to any teacher to try it.
And that's a really interesting thing, Michael, knowing that how busy your students are. I think last week I actually ran Run Club at my school, and the students were there at 7:15 in the morning, and then some had swimming and practice sporting things after school as well. And It's amazing. They get there before teachers sometimes and just run off their feet with lunchtime after school. And I teach year 6, so it is amazing just how much they do. And as teachers, we do need to sometimes think of that. So did anyone else have any questions or comments for Michael?
Yeah, I just think that's something that maybe every teacher needs to do. I think sometimes as teachers we get so caught up in our own position and our own job that we forget how busy we tend to make our students sometimes, and how busy their lives are with extracurricular activities. So
Totally
that's
agree.
really cool that you had a chance to do that.
Yeah, and to think about it, they would have then, if that's sport training, they would have went to sport training after school, and then they went home and ate, and then they have to start their homework.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's a busy, long day.
The day's not
Especially
over when the bell rings.
I know,
Sorry.
an 11 or 12-year-old, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Any other comments?
I think it's also definitely interesting if you have the student become the teacher as well. You get a different sense of what our job is as well when you flip it around on them too.
Well, it's funny you say that. My principal had be a principal for a day, and a year, I'm going to probably get it wrong now, year 1 or year 2 student followed her around for the whole day and went to meetings, got to go see the head of the school, and then she reported back to all the students. So it was a bit of fun, and yeah, she absolutely loved it and said she wants to now become principal of the school, which is fantastic. But yeah, it's interesting taking them along as well for the journey, like seeing in the staff room and going and dealing with kids on the playground and yard duty and after school and meetings. So it is interesting in that sense, although she did go home at the end of the day. We didn't make her stay too late for the meetings. Okay, now we're going to jump over to Michael too for tonight's show. So Michael will be sharing with us about Earth Primer for iPad. So I'm extremely interested to know more about this, working in a one-to-one iPad classroom. Anything like this intrigues me. So let me know when you're ready for me to start the timer.
Sure. Can you guys see my screen and the iPad?
Yeah, perfect.
Cool. All right, I'm ready.
Off you go.
Okay, so I came across this app actually last school year, and I've been sitting on it for quite a while because it is a rather pricey app in the App Store. It's $9.99 at its general price, but I think you can get it half off via Apple's volume purchase program. But it's called Earth Primer, and it's essentially an interactive earth science textbook for students. And what I really love about it, beyond its lessons, is the sandbox feature, and I'll kind of get to that in the end. But you start by learning about the different layers of the Earth and what they do and how they affect our planet, and then you get to the surface where you can learn about volcanoes and tectonic collisions and plates and all that. So each of these pieces is a different lesson in the text there. Like you can learn about the core. And it's every lesson is interactive, so it's telling me to touch to make lava. So I can keep touching the center, and I could create magma and watch it erupt out of the core there. And then we can get into volcanoes, and we can learn how we make an island. So if I tap to cause eruptions, I can bring that to the surface and start to make volcanoes and islands along the surface of the Earth there. Let me back out here. Come on. Okay, so once we learn about the interior of the Earth, we can get to the surface. So you can learn about sediment and streams and wave weathering, how waves affect the surface of the Earth, and dunes and mountains. And when we get into these different lessons, we can students can they can affect the Earth by using a variety of tools. So I can cause rain along the Earth's surface here, and watch how the Earth breaks away at the surface. I'm not sure if you guys can hear the sound effects. There's a lot of sound effects involved in all these interactive features.
We can't hear the sound, but
you can't, yeah. Yeah, I figured. Yeah. And then you can learn about water, and precipitation, and the cycle, and evaporation, and all that. You can get into groundwater and runoff. So you just continue through, and there's different biomes, so learning about the different ecosystems of our Earth. And then once you get through all of those lessons, you can get to the sandbox where you can create your own Earth surface. And so throughout the different lessons, you gain new tools, and these are all the tools that I have in my disposal here. So I can make the Earth hotter. Right, so, and I can use wind and create direction in wind and watch how that affects the Earth. And I can raise the water level and lower the water level and see how that affects the Earth. How a lack of water can affect the Earth's surface. I can increase the temperature or decrease it and make it really cold. So it's a lot of fun for students because they not only are they learning about the Earth and the Earth's surface, but it's fully interactive and it's engaging, and they can play around with the Earth and learn how all of these different changes and effects help to create the world and the planet that we live in. And then I can also change different layers and create precipitation and humidity and so on. So that is Earth Primer for the iPad. It's $9.99, and probably half that if you're in the volume purchase program.
That's really cool, and I know that's something that can be linked to many inquiry units and many areas of the curriculum, whether you're looking at sustainability or the world and the planets around us and how they're built up and created, and even how natural disasters work. So there are a lot of ways that can be used. Just a quick question: when the students start playing with that sandbox part, can they save those in any way?
Yes, so once you create a new sandbox, below that was a library, and so once you create a new one, it gets added to your library. So you can create multiple sandboxes and then build your library based on the different tools that you've used.
And I don't know if this is a feature, but from there, can you then share those with others, or you get a link to send?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Okay, yep.
Yeah, that'd be a great feature, though.
Yeah, it would be really cool if you could do that, and then even embed it in different places would be awesome. Yeah. So, any other questions?
Not a question, but what a cool little app. Michael and I were talking pre-show about this. I just found it. This augmented reality sandbox table, which does a very similar job, but you can actually on a real life table play around and sort of set different. So as you can see, you can sort of play around the sand, and if you drag away the sand, you'll create sort of different hills and even water features and everything. So it's a really cool, nifty table that's out there. But I assume that will probably cost thousands and thousands of dollars instead of a $10 app or $12.99 in Australia because of the Australia tax.
Yes, that's a funny thing. Those things, they are awesome, but they do cost a little bit of money. But thank you for sharing that. That's really interesting, and I know a lot of teachers will be able to link to that, and not even if the students can afford it, but I'm sure the teachers can put that on even their iPad and then use it as a class.
Yeah.
Okay, now we did message him and he said he is on his way. Fingers crossed he won't be too much longer. So hopefully he can join us before the end of the show and jump in and present, which was always fun. But I'm up next, and I'm going to be sharing a tool that a lot of you will know, but I feel that we haven't really shared it to its full potential on TeachTechPlay, and it's one of my favorite tools, which is Google MyMaps. So I'm going to just be doing a quick demonstration on how to use MyMaps in the classroom, and I'll just share my screen. Alrighty, and I'll start my timer. So Google My Maps can be found through multiple of ways. You can go to Google and search My Maps, and it will come up as the first thing, or you can even go to maps.google, and it is now in part of this by clicking on the 3 horizontal lines. A drop down will appear and you'll see that you've got My Maps, Another way that you can access it, which is probably my favorite, is through your Google Drive account, and this is also within your school Google for Education account as well. So by clicking on MyMaps, it opens up a new window. This also works on the iPad, which is really, really cool. Just make sure your student iPads are up to date, because I know the other day I went to use it and they said it doesn't work, and I said, have you updated? And of course they hadn't. So you just need to label your map. I'll quickly do this. I'm just going to add that as my description. And what you have is a map of the world. And because I'm in Australia, it always hovers over Australia. You have a lot of features that you can use within here. Obviously, you've got your share button, where it works like any sort of Google Drive application. You can change your accessibility. You can share it with others and your whole class. The only thing when using MyMaps is it doesn't have that real-life collaboration where you can see what other people are doing. You'll just need to refresh your browser. So I always say to my students, once you've added something to the map, then go click and refresh, and you'll get to see what other people have added. So that is just one minor thing that is different. But once you're in here, all you need to do is search. So one of my favorite cities in the world is New York. So here it pinpoints New York, and you can see it hovers, and I just simply click on Add to Map. On the left-hand side, it has added it to my map here. Once it's there, I then can click on the pin. You do get some details from Google Maps, but you can remove this. Sometimes there's ads, etc. So I always get my students to remove that. But the great feature is you can edit. So you can write heaps about New York or a trip to New York. I've used MyMaps for holiday recounts. Recounts are something that I get over and think for me a lot, and this is just a great way to share holidays. And then you've got something you can also put onto your blog for parents to see. Is one, oh, I can't even write a proportion of my favorite cities. You can also add photos. So what it does is it does a Google search, so New York, and then I can insert photos. I can also insert, if I click on the plus sign, I can then image URLs. So what you can do is you can actually upload your own photos to Google Drive and copy the link by right-clicking on it and pasting it in and putting your own images in. You can search for videos, or if you've got a YouTube link, you can also insert YouTube videos. So that's really cool, and especially if students have made their own videos, you can insert the links to those from Google Drive, and that works as well. So you can pinpoint all these cool different places. Just checking my timer. Oh my gosh, I'm nearly out of time. If I just zoom right back out, so you can pinpoint a whole lot of things. You can use it for a whole range of things, but one of my favorite things is a measuring tool. You can measure from one side to the other. You can see there I went straight across Australia, but my line became curved. That creates a great lesson and discussion. Also measures approximately. Another great thing is, sorry for anyone who lives in Tasmania watching our show tonight, or anyone who I've chopped off my quick going around, I've got 30 seconds left, is, now I can't pin it. Okay, you can create polygons. I'm going to quickly show this stop timer. And what you can do is you can actually grab that shape, if I can grab it in a second, and now it's not going to let me do it. Go away. No, I've run out of time. No, I don't want to do you that. Give me that hand. It's not letting me do it. Oh, anyway, you can move it. It's just not working at the moment. So you can change the line thickness. I don't know why it's not letting me do it today. It worked earlier just before. It gives you the length, the distance. I think it's just a line. That's why it's not letting me pick it up and move it. But you can move it. And as you move Australia around, it actually changes the size, etc. And I'm going to stop because I've gone over time. But there's a whole lot more you can do with MyMaps. That was a very quick 4-minute snapshot, but I know I love using it. I've seen teachers use it looking at volcanoes and pinpointing different natural disasters. My students currently have been reading once, and they've been plotting out different historical events related to that. So you can use it anything with a world location. Any questions?
Cool. No questions, but yeah, I really like that you're revisiting other tools that we've gone through in the past, because as we all know, 4 minutes is probably not enough time to go through, a tool such as MyMaps, which is so many different features and so many different possibilities. So I think, yeah, it's really a great idea that you've gone through that again and revisited that again.
Has anyone else here used MyMaps and can share any other ways that they've used it in the classroom?
Yeah, I used it last year for a whole project in math, actually. I combined it with Twine, which is another open source tool that you can do nonlinear stories. So basically, I plotted a whole bunch of points across the world, probably over 100 points, and we created this choose your own adventure story. And the kids had to race around the world, and they were competing against each other to try to get back around to Singapore again.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
Cool. Yeah, I just introduced a teacher at my school to the tool, because her students are reading a book about local produce and supermarkets and that sort of thing. So she's going to have her students plot all of the fast food restaurants in the area and all of the supermarkets and all of the local farmers markets, and then have a discussion around what's in our community and what kinds of things do you notice when you compare those different layers of data. But
yeah.
It's a really powerful tool.
And you can even do so many more things. You can also import your own spreadsheets and data, and it pinpoints the places. And I know I just introduced it to one of our Year 5 teachers, and they're looking at economics around the world and countries and what they're doing in regards to poverty. So they're going to be doing some research and investigating in groups, looking at that. So lots and lots of ways. Anything pretty much with the location, you can pretty much use MyMaps. So that was me just chatting, Lee, while you got set up. Great to have you here right at the end. You came in at perfect timing.
Hey, Lee.
Yeah, a bit madness. Yeah. Oh, hi guys, how you doing? All right. Rushing home from work.
No problem. Did you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're from and what you do?
Yeah, my name's Lee Webster. I'm a Google certified educator and a Google certified innovator, as they call it now. I've lived in Bangkok for 20 years, and I present at Bangkok summits. Sometimes I do keynotes, and most of the time I just do sessions. And I work at Singapore International School of Bangkok in Bangkok, of course. And yeah, it's great to be here.
Wonderful, and that's interesting. Singapore International School, but in Bangkok.
Yeah, there's a few, but we're not connected to them. But yeah, when I went to, I think it was Korea, have one. There's a few Asian countries that have Singapore International Schools. I think it's because of the Asians are very keen on their curriculum. Yeah.
Beautiful. Now, you're presenting on some of the new features that have just come out for Google Drive, which I know many people are super excited about. So are you ready to go? Yeah,
I'll just screen share. I've got a bit of problem. Tell me if you can, once you can see my, I think, let's share. Yeah, you got my screen now? Everybody can see my screen?
Just loading.
Okay.
Yep, perfect. We
Got
can
it?
see
Okay.
it.
Okay, great. So yeah, a few. I think it was 2 or 3 days ago. There was an announcement, and there was quite a few changes within Google Drive. Well, new features. And before that, I didn't really see much of the point of the apps that were in here. On the left-hand side here, you've got apps, and I used to launch everything from Drive. Basically, go to Drive and then open up my Google Docs or open up my Sheets. But you click this on the left-hand side, and your apps come up. You can go in other ways if you remember the URL, but to go in, you just click these, and now what you get is that if I open, say I open Google Docs, okay, and once you go in, let me just show slides. Is that one closed? Yeah, on all of them now. So slides, docs, and sheets. You'll get this with your documents that you can see in your Google Drive underneath. But on the top, you'll get the templates that they come up with now. I'll just show you, go back to docs. So I've clicked on more on the side there, and I'll show you again in a minute. And what it has in there, it's got CVs, letters, and it also got an education part in here. So it's got essays, reports, class notes, and lesson plans, which is really cool. So you just click on these, and it brings you to the template. In slides is the same. So there's the templates at the top. You click on more, and they drop down. The one I really like in here so far that I find really useful is on the education parts. You've got lesson plan, book report, field trip, science project, and student certificate, which is really good. But I like the lesson plan one, so I'm just going to open it up. It might take a little bit of time, so it's just loading. And in here on the first slide, it's the lesson that you're going to teach. It might load in a minute. So while that's loading, I'll just show you the. So it's very similar again in Sheets. You press more, and it drops down. You've got in there to-do list, annual budget, monthly, calendars, which is quite handy. I've played around with the calendar one that's in there. Expense report, grade book, which is pretty cool. Let's see if this is loaded. No, it still hasn't loaded. Okay, I'll go on. So also, if you've got any data now that's in Sheets, what you'll find is on the bottom, on the right-hand side at the bottom now, there's this little plus, and it says Explore. If you click that, what it does is before you had to go to the data and mess around with it, but what it comes up with, it loads pie charts. It takes all the data. It loads pie charts and bar graphs all up in the sidebar, taking all the data here. So if I just hover over one, once you hover over one, in the left-hand side at the top, it goes full screen. So if you click full screen, and then when you click on a segment, like in a pie chart, it gives you the stats on the side. And also, like the images,
1 minute.
Okay, you can click through on to the right and look through every single chart. Let me just go back. So the lesson is just, so you got in the lesson in slides, you've got audience. Doesn't want to load. Yeah, and well, just have a look at that. So just want to get on to show you the really new feature as well. Is that in Docs itself now, when you go to Tools, you'll see voice typing. So you click it, and then this little left-hand speaker comes up. So if you click that, I am presenting in a Hangout, full stop, enter. Let's try it again. Enter. It's not having it. Enter. Yeah, it worked earlier. Oh, and out of time. So yeah, play around with it. There are different commands in here. So one's full stop, one's enter, and one's another one. It didn't seem to work then, but yeah, they're the new features. Okay, guys, there you go.
Thank you, Lee. And yes, it is quite funny when you go do something live, just like myself before, it never decides to work, even though it worked 10 minutes earlier. I had a little play with that voice recording, and it works really well, surprisingly, even though you didn't have much luck then. I had a play with earlier today, and it was almost perfect. And I know in Australia, a lot of the voice recognition struggles with our accent, but it worked quite well. So it is very cool, and all those extra features, I know that a lot of teachers are going to just absolutely get so excited with all those features. I'm surprised that you've had enough time in the last 2 days to play with them. I saw it, but I haven't had a chance to have a play yet, so well done to you. Anyone else have any comments for Lee or questions? No?
No. Okay.
Nice and easy for you, Lee.
Yeah, nice and easy. That's how I like it.
Yeah. Now, we have actually come to the end of tonight's show, so please make sure you do vote for our fantastic presenters today for your favourite thing that they did share. I'll just share the link again, so make sure it is open now. You can find it also on our website. It is bit.ly/TTP lowercase e 14 vote. This link will be open till Friday, and then we'll announce our Play King or Queen for this month. Please make sure you do check out next month's episode. It airs on Monday, the 15th of October. We will announce the presenters for that episode early next week. And a huge thank you to our presenters again, and also to our presenters. I might throw over to you guys if you've got any upcoming conferences, anything going on that you'd like to share with our viewers. Emily, we might start with you.
I'm presenting in November. I think it's November 14th and 15th with Deep Learning for their Future Ready Learning Conference here in Singapore.
Beautiful. So if you are in Singapore or want to do a little trip to Singapore, make sure you check out that conference. Michael, what about yourself in Hawaii? What have you got coming up over there?
Sure. We've got a big, it's our annual Hawaii conference called Schools of the Future conference, and it's it is open for the world. It's if anyone is interested in visiting Hawaii on a business trip, sometime at the beginning of November. Its website's www.sotfconf.org. Got some great keynote speakers lined up: Mary Gordon, Chris Lehman. So check that out, and if you want to visit Hawaii, catch in the sights, and get a great conference in as well, and come to Schools of the Future.
Yeah, I would love to come, Michael, but I don't think my boss will sign for that.
Yeah, that always seems to be the problem, doesn't it, Lee? What about yourself? Do you have anything coming up?
Yeah, there's the Bangkok Summit, Google Summit on the 26th, and then after the following weekend, I'm in Singapore, and then there's a cloud camp in Cambodia, and then in December it's Korea. Yeah, so quite busy this end. They're all with apps events, so with Google Summits. Yeah.
So make sure you check out Apps Events to see Lee, because he has got a whole stack of those coming up in the Asia area over the next few months. So I don't know if you can fit in a Hawaii one there.
I would love to. That's the place I've never visited. Yeah, if I could sneak that in under my bosses without knowing, that would be great.
I think everyone would love to sneak that one in.
Yeah.
But once again, a huge thank you to all our presenters for joining us tonight, and all our viewers. Without the viewers, TeachTechPlay would not be possible. So thanks again. Please make sure you do vote. And remember, if you have missed any of our previous episodes or don't want to miss out on the ones to come, make sure you do sign up to our YouTube channel, and you can be updated constantly. And yes, don't forget that Chromebook app special edition that we did host earlier in the month. Some great apps shared there that work with Google for Education, and even some of them aren't even for Google for Education and still work. So once again, huge thank you, and look forward to next month's episode. Thanks everyone. See ya.
Bye guys.